Hello friends! We are here at this very beautiful scenic overlook called Legion Park here in Boulder County. I'm going to be telling you a story about Valmont, Butte, a sacred place to the Arapaho and Ute nations, and also a place that's in Limbo. The earliest residents of this region were the Clovis people, 15,000 years ago. They took root here as 10,000-year-old structures were found in Tenderfoot Mountain. They had come across the Bering Strait on a land bridge from Siberia, known for their fluted points found in their camps in Clovis, New Mexico. Next came the Folsom people, characterized by their leafy-shaped weapon points, called a Folsom point. They were hunter-gatherers and also hunted the now-extinct giant bison. Their camps found in Folsom, New Mexico. They were more of a mountaineering people, traveling with the herds and wintering in mountain basins, where their sites have been found, dating as far back as 10,000 years. Finally, the Plano people named for their unfluted projectile points, hunting bison, but also greater use of techniques to force stampedes off a cliff or into a constructed corral. They began the process of preserving their food, as characterized by the now Native American cultures. The Native American tribes banded and became the Apache, the Arapaho, the Cheyenne, Pueblo, and the Shoshone. And layering tribes were the Comanche, Kiowa, and the Navajo. Valmont Butte served as a winter camp for the Arapaho, where as many as 400 were seen to gather for an antelope hunt, belonging to the Cheyenne, Arapaho, and Ute by treaty in 1858. Not only used as a meeting place, but a place to set up prayer lodges and have burial ceremonies at the sacred site just across the way. They did war with one another, then eventually becoming allies as the settlers came into their territory. Valmont Butte became a neutral place to gather for these early Colorado nations. Arapaho means traders, or colored stone village people, often trading gemstones with farming villages. Or bison path people, hunting the hundreds of bison that roam these plains. Their Crow name was the people of many tattoos for their many circular tattoos on their body. Their lives based around the warrior and were master horsemen, later forming bands with other tribes to fight against the invading settlers. Right lies a pioneer cemetery of Valmont town, once large enough to have 3 saloons, its own newspaper, and a cemetery. Just to the right of the mining mill, a man who was buried in the cemetery linked to the Sand Creek Massacre. Nearby, a hut was used for the vigilante troop known as the Colorado Volunteer Militia to make plans for the terrible incident of Sand Creek Massacre. Here in the distance, you can see a 1940s power station run on coal which now has been completely turned over to natural gas in 2017. On the side of Valmont Butte lies the once known Allied Chemical Corporation as a mining mill for flour spar. Began in the 1930s, as well as gold mining. Also known as St. Joe's Mill, Allied Pile, Allied Mill, Valmont Mill, Hendricks Mill, leaving heavy radioactive tailings left behind as calcium fluoride and the use of 200,000 gallons of water per day. Burial sites of leftover radioactive materials lie on the site of Valmont, containing uranium, radium, thallium, and vanadium. In 2005, a plan was put through for a biosolids plant, but was oppositioned by the Colorado Community of Indian Affairs, trying to sell to the Trust for Public Land, which buys land to clean up and preserve them for the Native nations. The appraisal came in too low, yet deemed a blessing in disguise. The cleanup could completely dismantle sacred burial sites and archaeological finds. City officials are halting all decisions regarding plans. Work on the cleanup is being watched closely by state archaeologists as protocols set by the state's burial laws and Native American Graves Protection and Preparation Act. Now we're going to go down the hill and we're going to go get a little closer to Valmont Butte and the old mine. We are now standing at Valmont Butte. We have a lot of heavy traffic here, so I will talk in between big trucks. There's a plant here now, supposedly doing cleanup on this old mineral mill that began here in the early 30s and 40s. When Honeywell took over in the 1950s to the 70s, they took responsibility in cleaning up the mill. 300,000 tons of radioactive material was placed in the tailings ponds behind here. Valmont Butte was a sacred site for the Arapaho Nation and Ute nations. They used to meet here on antelope hunts, have peaceful prayer lodges, and they buried their people on this volcanic mountain. Proposals were made by the Native American nations to acquire this sacred space back. Boulder County turned them down. From what I read, they have to give it back when the contamination has been cleaned up. The nations implied that the place is so contaminated that they can't use it anyway. It is completely fenced off. There's no trespassing. I've put some messages into Boulder County to see if I could get back there to the Valmont cemetery, which has some pioneer burials there. But of course, I've received no messages back. I will talk to somebody and ask them if I could walk back there and get permission to go to the cemetery. They believed that this place had a link from the sky to the earth to the underworld. They believed that this volcanic rock held energy that they believed in the Great Spirit of this earth, sky, and the underworld. It's an amazing place. I'll be watching you, Valmont, Butte. When you're here and you're near this great place, a beauty, even though it's contaminated and there's these old buildings that are just should not be here, I feel that they are learning hopefully after the cleanup is done, they can turn this place back into a historical site where people like me and gonna clean it up, and the Native American nations can come here, and it can be a place again for sacred prayer and peace, have sacred burials for their people. Even if they were warring against other nations, this was a place of neutral peace where they could come and pray. As the sun follows its path in the sky, I say to him, my Father, listen, and my grandfather, the one I am praying to, we ask for good. The girls and boys and men of all ages, the women and old men, and you women of all ages, we pray that these foods will keep us healthy. Let them hear us, our fathers and grandfathers. I say this in conjunction with the heavenly lights, the yellow day, the good wind, the good timber, the good earth. You animals who live below the earth, I pray that you hear my words. Your surplus is going to be eaten so that people will prosper. So that the breath of life will endure for a long time. So that the tribe will be numerous. The children of all ages, thoughts, a good heart, love, and a joyful life, as I'm going to share a feast with you, the man above, the Great Spirit above. Blessed be. I will link below a couple other videos that people have done here. You can see that there is graffiti on the mill. There is a guy who did some parkour in there. That was a cool video. I'll link that below. But it says no trespassing. I probably could walk back there. I probably could. I am walking the dogs today. I don't want to get in trouble for trespassing.